Three child stars. One show. One is dead at 34. One at 42. And the third was tried for attempted murder before rebuilding his entire life from scratch. This is Diff'rent Strokes, the sitcom that made America laugh every Friday night and quietly destroyed almost everyone in it. These are their stories, and some of what you are about to hear, you have never been told before. Number 1. Gary Coleman as Arnold Jackson. He was just 10 years old when he walked onto that set. And from his very first episode, audiences were completely captivated. Arnold Jackson was clever, quick, and impossible not to love. That catchphrase became one of the most quoted lines in television history. At the height of the show, Gary was earning $100,000 per episode. He won the People's Choice Award for Favorite Young TV Performer 4 years in a row. But then everything changed. When the show ended in 1986, the roles dried up almost immediately. Gary discovered that his trust fund, which should have held nearly $18 million, had been reduced to just $220,000. He sued his own parents. He won, but barely recovered. He filed for bankruptcy in 1999. He worked as a security guard. He ran for governor of California in 2003, just trying to stay relevant. Few people know this. In January 2010, Gary told an interviewer, "I got 40 years in me yet. I ain't going nowhere." For months later, he was gone. On May 28, 2010, after a fall at his Utah home, Gary Coleman passed away from a brain hemorrhage. He was just 42 years old. The little boy who made the world laugh deserved so much better. Number 2. Todd Bridges as Willis Jackson. If Arnold was the heart of the show, Willis was the street-smart soul. Todd Bridges was 13 years old when he landed the role. Before Diff'rent Strokes, he had already appeared in Roots and Little House on the Prairie, making him one of the most recognized young black actors on television. For 8 seasons, he was a star, but when the cameras stopped rolling in 1986, Todd was just 20 years old. And with no show, no structure, and unresolved pain from a childhood marked by abuse, he fell apart fast. What happened next shocked everyone. Within 2 years, Todd was living in South Central Los Angeles with no shoes, no money, and a crack cocaine addiction that would consume nearly a decade of his life. In 1989, he was arrested and tried for the attempted murder of a drug dealer. His attorney was the legendary Johnny Cochran. He was acquitted. Here is the detail that gets people every time. First Lady Nancy Reagan had appeared on Diff'rent Strokes in 1983 to preach her "Just Say No" campaign. Todd later said he remembered her exact words when he finally hit rock bottom. Now in 2026, Todd Bridges is 60 years old. He got clean in February 1993 and has celebrated over 30 years of sobriety. He appeared on Celebrity Big Brother in 2022, launched a podcast with his wife, and is now building a nonprofit focused on addiction treatment reform. Of all the original cast, Todd is the only one still with us, and that alone makes his story one of the most powerful on this list. Number 3. Conrad Bain as Philip Drummond. While the kids were stealing scenes, Conrad Bain was quietly holding the whole show together. He played the dignified, warm-hearted Mr. Drummond for all 8 seasons. Not one episode was filmed without him. His daughter Jennifer once said he was a lot like his character in real life. That warmth was genuine. Few people know this. Before Diff'rent Strokes, Conrad had already served in the Canadian Army during World War II, studied acting alongside Don Rickles at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts, and appeared in films with Woody Allen and Sean Connery. The man had range. After the show ended, he stepped back from the spotlight almost completely. He did appear one final time as Philip Drummond in the 1996 series finale of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. A quiet, graceful farewell. In his final years, Conrad moved to a retirement home in Livermore, California, to be close to family. His wife Monica passed away in 2009. He followed her just a few years later. On January 14, 2013, Conrad Bain passed away peacefully at age 89, 3 weeks before his 90th birthday. A gentleman to the very end. Number 4. Dana Plato as Kimberly Drummond. She was the girl next door that every kid on the block adored. Sweet, pretty, and effortlessly charming. Dana Plato made Kimberly Drummond feel like a real older sister. But behind the scenes, the story was already unraveling. Dana had been experimenting with alcohol and drugs since her early teens. Then in 1984, she became pregnant. The producers let her go quietly, saying she no longer fit the show's wholesome image. She was just 19 years old, and that's when things took a turn. Here is the detail that breaks your heart. Before landing Diff'rent Strokes, 13-year-old Dana had to choose between auditioning for the U.S. Olympic figure skating team and taking the TV role. She chose Hollywood. After the show, the roles stopped coming. She lost custody of her son. She robbed a Las Vegas video store in 1991 with a pellet gun and walked away with $164. The store clerk recognized her immediately and called the police. On May 8, 1999, one day after a deeply painful interview on The Howard Stern Show, Dana Plato was found dead in her RV in Oklahoma. She was 34 years old. Her son, Tyler, who struggled after losing her, took his own life 11 years later. Almost to the day, some stories leave a mark that never quite fades. Number 5. Charlotte Rae as Edna Garrett. She was the heartbeat of the household before she ever left it. Charlotte Rae played housekeeper Edna Garrett for the first season and a half, warm and wisecracking, impossible to ignore. Then in 1979, she did something almost no supporting character had ever done. She proposed her own spin-off. NBC said yes. The Facts of Life ran for 9 seasons and made her a television legend. Here is what most people never knew. Charlotte named the character Edna after her own mother because she wanted to pour the same warmth into that fictional woman that her real mother had given her. She also fought for 30 years with a secret she finally disclosed in her 2015 memoir. She had battled alcoholism throughout her career, stone cold sober for 44 years by the time she wrote it down. Her personal life was equally complicated. Her husband came out as bisexual after 25 years of marriage. Her son, Andy, was severely autistic and died of a heart attack in his 40s. Charlotte Rae survived pancreatic cancer in 2009. Then bone cancer came in 2017. On August 5, 2018, she passed away peacefully at home. She was 92 years old, the last original housekeeper, gone quietly, just like she lived. Number 6. Danny Cooksey as Sam McKinney. Nobody asked for Sam McKinney, and the audience made sure he knew it. Danny Cooksey was just 8 years old when his mother drove him from Moore, Oklahoma to Los Angeles, chasing a dream of country music stardom. An agent spotted him performing and pushed him toward acting instead. He auditioned for Diff'rent Strokes and landed the role of Sam, the new stepson, a desperate ratings move in the show's final 3 seasons. Fans resented the character instantly. Sam was the show's version of jumping the shark. But Danny himself? He was the real deal. Here is the detail that catches people off guard. While the original cast was unraveling in drugs, lawsuits, and bankruptcy, Danny Cooksey quietly built one of the most durable careers of anyone on that set. He went on to Terminator 2, Nickelodeon's Salute Your Shorts, and became one of animation's most prolific voice actors, voicing Montana Max in Tiny Toon Adventures and dozens of other characters across 30 years of cartoons and video games. He was also one of Dana Plato's closest friends on set. When she died in 1999, Danny Cooksey served as her pallbearer. Today at 50, he is still working, still recording, still quietly proving everyone wrong. Number 7. Janet Jackson as Charlene Dupree. Before the Super Bowl, before Control, before any of it, there was Charlene. Janet Jackson was just 14 years old when she began playing Willis's girlfriend on Diff'rent Strokes in 1980. It was actually her 3rd major TV role. She had already carried dramatic weight on Good Times at age 11, playing an abused child named Penny. By the time she walked onto the Diff'rent Strokes set, she had more professional experience than most adults in the room. Here is the detail that reframes everything. While filming those seasons as Charlene, Janet was secretly releasing her first 2 albums on A&M Records. Her father Joseph had arranged the deal when she was 15. The records went largely unnoticed. Nobody in that Diff'rent Strokes studio could have imagined what was coming. Then in 1986, the same year the show ended, Janet released Control. She was 19. She had written or co-written every track. She fired her father as her manager, and she never looked back. Today, Janet Jackson is 60 years old, one of the best-selling musicians in history. And it all started on that Penthouse set, playing a teenager in love with Willis Jackson. Some people were always going somewhere extraordinary. Number 8. Dixie Carter as Maggie McKinney. She arrived late, played a woman who changed everything, and then quietly walked away into something even bigger. Dixie Carter joined Diff'rent Strokes in 1984 as Maggie McKinney, the aerobics instructor who captured Philip Drummond's heart and married him. She was glamorous, sharp, and completely believable. But the ratings were already collapsing, and when NBC canceled the show in 1985, Dixie Carter did not wait around. She went straight to designing women. And as Julia Sugar Baker, the steel-spined Southern feminist, she became one of the most iconic characters in television history. Here is the detail nobody forgets. Dixie Carter was a lifelong conservative Republican. Julia Sugar Baker was a firebrand liberal. The show's creator Linda Bloodworth Thomason knew it, so they made a deal. For every liberal political tirade Julia delivered, Dixie got to sing a song in a future episode. It worked for 7 seasons. She was married to actor Hal Holbrook from 1984 until her death. Their union was considered one of Hollywood's great love stories. On April 10, 2010, Dixie Carter died from endometrial cancer in Houston, Texas. She was 70 years old. The same year, Gary Coleman died. The same year, the world remembered Diff'rent Strokes all at once. Number 9. Marion Mobley as Maggie McKinney Drummond. She stepped into a role nobody wanted her in, on a show that was already dying, and she carried it with complete grace. Marion Mobley replaced Dixie Carter as Maggie in the show's final ABC season in 1985. The producers had actually wanted her for the role originally, but worried about the age gap between her and Conrad Bain. By the final season, they no longer cared. The show was finished regardless. But Marion Mobley was far more than a footnote on a fading sitcom. She was Mississippi's first Miss America, crowned in 1959. She signed with MGM and starred alongside Elvis Presley in 2 films. She was nominated for a Golden Globe. She reportedly was the first choice to play Batgirl in the 1960s Batman series, a role that went to Yvonne Craig. She traveled to Cambodia, Ethiopia, Somalia, and Sudan to document children devastated by war and famine. Here is what makes her story land differently than the others. While so many of her castmates were consumed by addiction, legal battles, and financial ruin, Marion Mobley spent her final decades fighting something far more personal. Crohn's disease, then breast cancer again. On December 9, 2014, she passed away at her Beverly Hills home. She was 77, a woman of immense substance who never needed the spotlight to prove it. Number 10. Shavar Ross as Dudley Johnson. Every great lead needs a great best friend, and Dudley was exactly that for Arnold. Shavar Ross joined the show as Dudley Johnson, Arnold's loyal best friend, and appeared in over 40 episodes across 6 seasons. The two boys had a natural chemistry that felt completely real. Audiences loved them together. But here's the fact that stops people cold. In 2006, Shavar revealed publicly that during the taping of the very special episode where his character was molested on screen, he was living through a nearly identical experience in real life. A family friend had been inappropriately touching him while he slept. He carried that secret for over 20 years before speaking about it. After the show, he went on to appear in Family Matters, Growing Pains, and Magnum P.I. He even played a horror film character in Friday the 13th, A New Beginning in 1985. But eventually, he walked away from acting entirely. He became a non-denominational pastor, pursued a psychology degree, and built his own film and television production company. He has been happily married since 1992 and has 2 children. Now in 2026, Shavar Ross is 55 years old, living quietly, purposefully, and far from the Hollywood spotlight. Sometimes the ones who walk away are the ones who figure it out first. Diff'rent Strokes ran for 8 seasons. It made us laugh, it made us cry, and it gave us characters we never forgot. But behind those closing credits was a story nobody told us. And now you know it. If this brought back memories or broke your heart a little, hit subscribe, because there are plenty more stories like this one waiting for you.